Battleline podcast, episode 75. A lot of you guys probably heard David Silveria on the show already, of course. But the reason I wanted to have Dave back on, and we're having Rich on from the band, was just because of the fact that when we had David on, there really wasn't much to promote. There was a couple songs out there, and now they have an EP out there. And I mean, we'll get into it further in depth, but both of us are really loving their stuff.
Yeah, it's good new album that came out. Actually, I was listening to it on my drive back home yesterday. I like Delusional, man. I don't always tell. That's my favorite song off the new album. I do like, but it reminds me of. And I don't know if bands dig this. Do they want to be compared to other bands, or how it works? Or are we all original? But the sounds are sounds, and the genre of like Trapped and Chevelle. And back in that day, that's what that band that's what they remind me of. And that's good rock and roll. Kind of like when that transition from rap and rock kind of came together, and then they started to even make it better and better. Linkin Park, I think, was probably the first, but then it went to the rap rock, but then also the guys that could screech and scream, which their singer can. He's awesome. He's like Corey Taylor and again, I don't want to compare, because I hate that. I don't know if it pisses them off.
No,
I don't want you to compare me to a Navy SEAL either, but I mean, it's out of respect. But a guy that can like screech, but then he can sing. I don't know, or even Phil Labonte is another one that can and then. Wow, he can also sing too. I don't know how they do it though, because my vocal cords. I try to sing that in the car, the screeching parts. I start coughing because I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to them and also to talk to Rich really for the first time. I mean, I got to test out with him yesterday, but really the first time I get to talk with him in depth, and we could get into all of that. Before we do, of course, every show we try to interview inspiring people from all walks of life. And we have some great sponsors on board that keep us doing what we're doing. If you haven't been on board with Hero Soap, the great thing about Hero Soap is really the mission has always been focused on veteran charities, giving back to charities like Chris's 14th Hour Foundation and others. And they even do a thing called the Subscription, where if you purchase soap, they'll send over that same amount that you're subscribed to a deployed location where guys will be able to get that same amount of soap. And I know for guys overseas, that's really crucial. And it's just the best stuff. No chemicals, dyes, or fragrances. No parabens that are found in common soaps that you might not know are linked to breast cancer and reproductive complications in men. Now, beyond the soap, which I love and is in all different scents, and they're all great, it's life-changing. Seriously, the peppermint plus cool, it'll just like wake you up in the morning. But they've also launched a fragrance-free pet wash for your furry friends, and they also now have their body wash in the sense of lavender, the pines, the meadow, lime, and the Arctic. And they all include natural ingredients that your skin craves to stay hydrated, like olive oil, essential oils, and aloe vera. They're veteran owned, and that's why they're so focused on veteran charities. And especially at a time like this where the weather is still a little chilly here, it's warmed up, then got chilly again. At least for me, man, if I'm not using the right soap, like Hero Soap, my skin dries out and I'm using a ton of lotion and it just sucks. So you need to use a soap that's going to keep you hydrated.
Yeah, it is a life changer. Yeah, especially when you use the peppermint soap for the first time down there in the nether regions. I think they call it the taint. Is that what the kids still call it? I know that's what I called it. But they do a tremendous job. And you're right. Sending soap downrange, being that guy that was downrange for a while, all you can get is Irish Spring and Dove. I mean, you just for 10 years washing with terrible soap.
And Irish Spring, for me, that's one of those that dries me out.
Dries, yeah.
It's the worst.
And that's what you need, is that dry out soap when you're in Kandahar, Afghanistan. I mean, that's exactly what you. So I'm not kidding, guys. If you can't tell the sarcasm in my voice, but
yeah.
No, Hero Soap is fantastic, and to get stuff like it does. It makes the deployments, just little things like that, make the deployments go quicker, and it makes rises the morale. It's the right soap. People are like, are you crazy? No, I'm not. Having something different, something good, and something that really it is. It's made by a veteran, and obviously it's not just for veterans, but it's veteran. The even the fragrances and everything around it is veteran themed. It makes you feel good. And then when I'm home, it brings back the memories. Like I told you, I remember I did the pine one that we had, the woods. And it reminded me of Fort Benning, Georgia. And I'm telling you, every guy that has been to Fort Benning and basic at Fort Benning, you use the woods, you're going to go back to where your drill sergeant's yelling at you. I promise you. And where you're mopping the floors and going out in the woods. So tremendous job. They're a tremendous group. And of course, being veteran owned and supporting veteran run foundations, that's a plus as well.
Yeah, so if you guys do the subscription, there's no contract and you can cancel at any time, but you don't have to do it as a subscription. You can just try out 1 soap, 2 soap, the body wash, do whatever works for you. So it's herosoapcompany.com. Use the offer code Battleline for 15% off, and you can combine that with 10% off for the subscription. And to you people listening to this, like in the future, they've kept that promo code up for a while. So, if you're hearing this and you think it's expired by now, it might not. So try it. They've been with us a while. Yeah. And if you support us, you're going to love them. Also, of course, Fort Scott Munitions is with us every show. Fort Scott Munitions is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition that is designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design, and it was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring they receive the same results with each pull of the trigger. Now, they are no longer stocking ammo on their website because it is just selling out and they can't keep up with it. But you can go to the store locator right on fortscottmunitions.com and you can see where it's available in your state. And I know a lot of you guys are getting that stimulus check in, and that money's going to go towards guns and ammo for a lot.
Guns and ammo or toilet paper. Now, actually, I think that's passed. The toilet paper, we don't have it. We're good on toilet paper now here, but we're still low on ammo in Nebraska. So yeah, definitely check them out, guys. If you can find it in your stores, local stores. If you don't have it, then tell your local retailers to call Fort Scott and have them become have Fort Scott distribute the ammo to them directly, so you have a store to get it in your respective state. And it's tremendous ammo, tremendous family that runs the company, the Craft family, which again they're 1 in a million, and it reflects in their products as well. So check them out. Go to Fort Scott Munitions, and then send that to your local retailers there and tell them, hey, we want Fort Scott Munitions in our store, so you can pick it up and you can try it. Once you try it, you're going to keep it for your home defense ammo, definitely. And all your hunters you're not going to go back to anything else. It's because it works. It's effective, the most effective ammunition out there.
100%. So they still are stocking clothes, merch and all that. So if you go to fortscottmunitions.com and you want to check any of that out, just use the promo code Battleline, and you're going to get 15% off any of that stuff. Fort Scott Munitions is a proud supporter of Chris Peranto, Battleline Tactical, and the Battleline podcast. With that, let's go.
From Omaha, Nebraska to New York City, from planet Earth to extraterrestrial life in space, a podcast with no equal, engaged in unconventional warfare through your speakers and headphones. This is a show about embracing the suck, conquering your demons, and finding God in the face of adversity. Chris Tonto Peranto.
Twitch is on. Motherfucker, I'm going to shoot you in the face.
Ian Scotto.
Ian and I have been dating for a long time.
You are now tuned into the Battleline podcast.
The switch is on. Battleline podcast. Really excited once again to have the guys from Bias coming on. But you've had a pretty busy week. You were at the Florida book signing, and then you had a speaking event in Oklahoma. And as of today, you were back home. So I'd love to hear how all of it went.
Oh, hey, I'm tired. I'm not used to the travel again, and I don't want to get used to the travel again. This is going to be every month I'll be busy, and then a month I won't. I try to, got to find balance in your life, or you go crazy, literally. But it was great. No, the Florida event was tremendous. It was at the Alamo Range, and their indoor range. It's a big gun range in Naples, Florida. And if you haven't been to Naples, Florida, once you go there, you're going to want to stay. You're not going to want to leave. It's a tremendous place to be at. And the book signing went well, man. We had I brought a lot more books than I usually do. I just didn't know. And we, 200 or so books, and dang near sold all of them. And that is actually excellent on a book signing. Especially during whatever's going on, whatever we're calling it now, the drawdown of the hibbity-bibbity virus, the vaccine times, whatever you call it. But but people, I was 2 days just straight busy. And for people that come to our book signings, you come because I'm going to talk to you, and I talk your ear off. And I think everybody had a great experience. I did. It was nice. It was nice just, seeing everybody out and smiling, and I don't make people wear their masks. And if they want to, they can. I just tell them, hey, off the bat, hey, guys, I'm not wearing my mask here unless I'm required to. And gun ranges, they don't. I don't think the virus likes gunpowder, because you don't find it much there. But it was tremendous because people were being normal, and they were enjoying smiling. It was nice to see smiles all the time. It was nice for other people to see other people smile. And it was just a great experience. And it was great for my family as well. And, get up in the morning in Florida when it's 70 degrees and go for a run at 8:00 in the morning before I go to the book signing. That's a plus. And just being around Naples, can't wait to finally buy a condo or a summer home there when I become a snowbird. I'm 50, so I'm in the category now. So I'm getting, what is it? The AARP mailings now. So
you're there, yeah.
So I qualify for being a snowbird, and looking forward to staying down there and working with Alamo in the future on doing Battleline tactical teachings and using their range. So yeah, tremendous.
Yeah. I know there were some listeners of the show who came out because they tagged us in some stuff, and that was really cool to see, especially people meeting you for the first time who may have had a dream of meeting you. And sometimes it just doesn't line up when you're doing other events. So they got the chance to do it now. And
I got the chance. And I always look at it as not them getting to meet me. I get to meet them, because I want to try to say hi to whoever wants to say hi to me. And which is still seems a little weird to me. I don't know why you want to come talk to my ugly ass. But it's still humbling in a sense. And then the Oklahoma City, I
was going to ask you about that too.
Yeah, that was great. It's going and having an in-person speaking event, which we haven't had in 2 years. I haven't. I don't think there's been many out there that have that, where you could have over 100 people in a location. And the venue was tough for them to find, but they found a really beautiful church to have it in, and I think it was tremendous as well. And I could tell when I was speaking, it's not the same speech that they want to know the story, but I've learned, and even when I talked, it was more about, and maybe the church was part of it, but more about faith and God and overcoming adversity, like we talk about on the show all the time.
Yeah.
And the talk went that direction. And that's what's wonderful about me not using PowerPoints, or I don't have a scripted talk, is that I'll get up there and I'll just start going. And sometimes it goes a different direction. And I thought I felt awesome. That's it. Usually I walk off stage and I'm just tired, and I really don't feel good, because it just drains me. And I walked off stage that way.
I mean, you're great at what you do, though. And I don't just say it as, a friend of yours, but it is true how it's like, it's all unscripted. I mean, you have an idea, of course, of what you're going to talk about. And there are certain points you're always going to hit, but you try to make it authentic to who you're speaking with, and you've done it long enough that you're great at it.
I just practice makes perfect. Practice, failing, and then going back after a speech and doing like an AAR, an after action report, or review of, okay, what did I miss? What did I hit? Where did I lose? Because you can tell when you lose a crowd. I get when guys are on stage or comedians, or I kind of understand that, because you can tell when you say something and it doesn't go over for one crowd. You're like, okay, probably don't want to use that again. So let's do something different. And it is, as a speaker, you got to do the same thing, or you become bland or tired, or you just continue to speak to the same groups. On the political side, I said, if you're a politician, you can be bland and tired and terrible, but as long as you're speaking to your constituency, your group, you're always going to speak. Where I didn't want to do that. No, this is inspiring. You got to be inspired by the story because it is inspiring. And it is about failure. And the other books I wrote, I was like, well, let's pull that in as well. So it's like watching a movie and watching a guy flash back to parts of his life before he's getting shot at to understand that, okay, I've gone through the suck fest before. I know how to handle this, and then coming back to Benghazi. So it's almost like a movie where I'm flashing back to other parts of my life and then coming back to that night and saying, okay, that's what I learned from it. That's what got me through that point in time. And then God's a huge part of it now. And I think people need to hear that. There's not a lot of, God is not cool to talk about in the mainstream anymore. And you know me, I give two shits about the mainstream. I'm gonna do it just, even if it's just to poke somebody's eye and say, listen, this is what we need to be talking about right now. Mm-hmm. And but it went really well, and the people were tremendous. I had a VIP dinner before that, which is like the people that pay to bring me in, and they do. They deserve that up close and personal. They're paying the bills, and that was fun too. It was great. And meeting old Vietnam veterans that come, I love that. Because they're coming in with an old F-15, F-16 pilot. And I say old out of respect, sure, Ted, you're awesome. I wish we had you there that night. But that's what I love. I love talking to those guys because to me, I'm like, man, I went through one night of that. Those guys went through like 12 months of the shit that I went through one night. And I just have that much respect for all the Vietnam veterans out there because, like I said, that's what got me through a lot of that night too, is I was like, man, I can't be a pussy and give up. Those guys went through months of what I'm doing right now, just at this time frame. I can't give up. And so I love meeting all the Vietnam veterans that come. And then there was actually a World War II vet that was there as well, which that's even cooler.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's Bastogne. I mean, every time I hear a vet, I think of Omaha Beach, a World War II vet, Omaha Beach, or Battle of Bastogne. And I'm like, I went through one night of that, and it was actually 100 degrees out. Can you imagine going through like Bastogne and going through months of that where it's minus 12 with not the winter clothing? I hate walking out of my house with not having the right gloves on my hand.
Yeah.
So it's humbling to me still. And it was tremendous. Again, and there's people coming out and they're being normal again. And Oklahoma City, you guys set the standard because as soon as that one opened up, I had 4 more open up to do in person. And
great.
And they're great. And they're, as you can tell, and I know you know this, just from this therapeutic for me as well. It helps me. It's like almost therapy on stage. So
were you nervous about getting up there for the first time?
I was. I was like, crap, I haven't done this in a while. I wonder if I can still, kind of ad lib it. I wonder if I can still do that because it took practice. I could tell people you don't get to be a public speaker right off the bat. It doesn't work that way. You have to practice like anything else. And I did a lot of free speeches, a lot of talks at book signings, practicing and getting better and better, or at least.
But I'm just saying, like probably a whole year away from it, minus a couple virtual events.
It wasn't getting up in front of people. I don't have a problem getting in front of people. That's not it. It was, can I still bring it? I'm sure we could talk about Silveria, talk to Dave the same way. When the first time he goes back to a concert, you're like, okay, I knew I used to be really good at this. Am I still good at it? And that's what, can I still do this well? And then when I started talking, it just natural. And it was great. The crowd, there's still people that are scared to come, they are. And normally,
understandable.
Yeah, it is. But having 200 people at a town hall, that still to me is tremendous, especially since really we're still feeling it. People are still scared. So they're letting other people feel it out to see if it's okay. And I'm just telling people right now, it is. We're okay. People that the ones that I talked to a few of them because there's a 50 to 80 crowd there. I told you there's old Vietnam veterans and World War II veterans. They've got their vaccines, so they came. I'm just telling people, it's not like a cut loose and just worry about getting sick. People are taking the precautions. There are still people that wore masks and they sat. They had the 6 feet, whatever is that the bubble or whatever. So it limited the crowd a little bit. But that being said, it's still 200 people. In this point in time, is still good to come to an event like that where. And I think they'll keep getting more and more people, and I'm on a great, that Oklahoma town hall, they do one every year. I'm on a docket. Who comes out? I think Steve Forbes talks to their next one. And to me, I'm like,
he's a very down to earth guy, which should surprise people.
And he is. He's the nicest. Eric Prince. I used to guard Eric Prince. Protect him and his family.
Yeah, of course.
And Eric went to, and I met Steve Forbes. And his security detail at one point in time. And he was the nicest guy. But to me,
it's funny that he even has a security detail, because when I've seen him when I worked at Sirius, he was always there. He never had an entourage. He was always there by himself. McDonald's cup of coffee for a multi-billionaire, probably.
I shouldn't say detail. He has one guy, and it was in his New York office that we went.
He never had any guy when he came to the when he came to Sirius. Unlike a lot of these, like rappers who come with an entourage of like 25 security guards.
No one ever know that Steve Forbes was, unless who doesn't know who Steve Forbes is anymore? He got a magazine named after one of the most popular, most read business magazines in the world. But to me, it still doesn't hit me when I'm on a docket like that, where, hey, it's Chris Pirano, then General Flynn, then Oliver North, and then you have then you have Nick Saban, and you're on that docket. I'm like, does my name really fit? I mean, and that's keeping it humble, but it's cool to see that on the docket and see that they're opening up, and the Oklahoma people are bringing people in like Steve Forbes. And I hey, hate me if you want to, I don't care. Sorry, not sorry. And people like myself that are trying to inspire people to, hey, get up, let's continue. Let's keep fighting, get out of your house, keep living, and don't worry about what's going on around you so much. Just take care of what you can within your own household, and just continue to fight on. And I got a good response from it, and I felt good after it. So yeah, it was great. And now I got to go back to Naples. I have another one in Naples, back to Florida on Friday. I do have a virtual one on Friday morning, which in Indianapolis, because the city opened up before, and I had to do the virtual. But then we have the real one, the in-person one in Naples, Florida coming. So it's great, dude. It's good. Yeah. It's good to see. It's good to see. And the country's still beautiful. Driving the Midwest is still tremendous.
Yeah, you are a busy man, but we're going to get right over to the guys in bias or breaking in a sequence. You can go by either. But before we do, try 1440, dreaming of a news service that doesn't also tell you how to interpret current events. That's 1440. Instead of cleverly crafted messaging and media narratives, 1440 provides an impartial view of what's happening in the world so readers can form their own conclusions. Scouring hundreds of sources each day, 1440 delivers news with breadth plus depth, thoughtfully curated by experts in a single morning briefing straight to your inbox. 1440 believes news is not about proving one side is right, but that it should inspire objective conversation that helps you navigate the world around you. While this may sound lofty, the goal is to empower readers so they can lead better, well-informed, more productive lives. Check them out. Visit try1440.com, TRY, of course, and then the numbers 1440, try1440.com to learn more and subscribe.
Look at that here. Look like Genghis Khan gonna go kill some shit. Look at that. Awesome. Yeah.
All right. So with that, I will give an intro. Yeah, we're on with two of the guys from Bias or Breaking in a Sequence. David Silveria, of course, best known as the original Korn drummer who we've had on before, and for the first time on the show, vocals, Rich Nguyen. And it's great to have both of you. Chris and myself both have loved the new EP. Yeah, even just speaking privately, we've really been into it.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us.
Oh, no, you guys, and brother, you can wail, and we'll talk about that. But I don't know how you guys do it with your voice, because I try to replicate it in my car when I'm driving. And you do the screech and the scream, the hardcore, and then you can come back and sing all in the same song. And I try to do that, and I start coughing. Right, I can't do it, and my lose my voice. I don't know how you do it in the same song.
I'll teach you the secret.
I got to know how to do that. It's like, how the hell do they screech and not, get that tickle in your throat? Because there's a joke set up there. I set it up perfectly for any of y'all, but you don't have to go with it because this is a very faith-based show. It is somewhat, but and then the tickle, and then how do you continue to go on without gargling salt water? But that's I dig that, because that to me, that's a singer, man. I mean, there's singers, but if you can sing, then there's rockers that just screech on the microphone that can't sing. And if you can do both, to me, that sets it apart. To me, that's rock. That's the rock, and that's the genre. And that's also the genre I deployed with when, Dave was with Korn, or I listened to Linkin Park, and I listened to, and then Trapped came out, Chevelle, and all. To me, that's the real hard rock, where rap rock is that what we call it, where it kind of crossed a little bit, but then it melded and became perfect. And man, so that's why when I hear Delusional, that reminds me of that. That reminds me of rocking out in Baghdad. I just, let's get going, man. It's time to get out on the road. And it's amazing. So yeah, but you got to teach me. You got to teach me that the rasp, and then able to sing and talk. Even
I'll
talk
teach you.
out.
It's all technique. It's literally all technique.
Is it really? Okay. So you're just going to massage. For those that can't see what I'm doing, I'm massaging my Adam's apple right now. So you're just going to do this while I talk and gargle at the same time. Dave, sorry, dude. I know, making you uncomfortable. My bad.
So actually, I do want to ask Rich, what is like your background? Because for a lot of people, Bias is really like your introduction to you. And I mean, I could tell you've been doing this a lot.
I started singing when I was, I want to say 12 years old, right? And I'm an old man now. But literally, I started on guitar. I'm actually a guitar player before I'm a singer. But when I started on guitar, I started basically learning all like Metallica songs, right? And eventually I was like, oh yeah, this feels incomplete. So I started singing those same Metallica songs. So I had basically learned every single Metallica song from Kill 'Em All to the Black Album. And that's how I learned how to sing.
That's
right?
awesome.
And then after that, I kind of got into Slayer and Pantera, and obviously I got into Korn and Faith No More, Stone Temple Pilots. I mean, the list goes on. And I just basically took all of my influences, like from singers, and stacked them all on top of each other, condensed them, and made my like style out of that. So
you're self-taught. You taught singing. How do you do that? Just in the shower one day, and then you're like, man, I sound great. These acoustics are fantastic. And then you just go to the next level, or how do you know?
Really?
You don't until you get an honest guy like Dave that says, man, you sound great, or man, you sound shit. Just stop it. Go back to guitar.
Basically,
is that how it works? I mean,
you just gotta do your thing.
That takes some guts, do your
man.
Thing, it really does.
If you suck, then you suck. But at least you're still having fun at it, right? Like,
that's awesome.
How I got into this band is, these guys put out this singer search, right? It was like a worldwide singer search from their old band. They split off from the old band that they were in, and they put out this singer search.
Yeah, I remember Dave.
Which the old band, I mean, I think we got into the last one, but the big thing was people were like, I love the music, I'm not into the vocals.
Right. That's kind of how I was too. I was going online, and this was just strictly for fun. I was going online, finding bands on Craigslist that put out instrumental music, right? That were looking for singers. And I would take their music and I would cut it all up, like the sections of the songs, and I would basically rearrange the song to how I wanted the song to be. I'd sing over it and just send it back to them, right? So I wasn't trying to be in a band or anything. I was just doing this for fun. This is what I do in my free time. Weird stuff, right? So then they put out the singer search, and I was like, oh man, I want that music so I could do the same thing to it, just for fun. So I did that. They put out their singer search. I responded with all my bios and all my music, and they didn't respond to me for like 5 months, right? So in that 5-month period, I was like, oh, they don't care.
What a bunch of dicks.
Right? I get an email one day that says, hey, better late than never. See what you can sing over this. So I got the track, and I was like, okay, this is cool. It's not how I want it to be, so I'm going to make it the way I want it to be, sing over it, and send it back. So I sent it back to them, and they didn't really reply to me for like a week. And then they finally replied. They're like, oh, this is cool. See what you can do to these. So they sent me, I think, 2 other songs, and I was able to take one of their songs, because one of the songs they sent me was like 6 or 7 minutes long. I took that and I cut it all up, and I made 2 songs out of it, right? And then sent back those 2 songs along with another song. And at that point, they were like, oh, you want to come down? This is pretty good. You want to come down and try out? And I was like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know if I really want to be in a band. Well, no, I just.
Now you're playing hard to
these
get,
guys
right?
live 80 miles south of me. So to get to practice, I have to drive 80 miles south.
Okay.
And I was telling my wife about it, and my wife was like, you know what? You should go do this. Are you kidding me? You've been singing over like Craigslist bands for no reason for the last like year and a half. And now this band with David Silveria in it wants you to go try out, and you're going to say no? Go do it. It's your passion. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll go do it. And like literally I got in the room, and it was a little bit awkward at first, right? Because it was just me and these complete strangers, and David sitting there like ripped. He's fucking huge, right? Like way.
You're wearing a medium too. Made sure, right?
It looked like he came from the gym.
Get
right?
this, your joke.
And I
Yeah,
put my mic stand right in front of him, so I basically had to sing right in front of him. But then we started jamming, and it just clicked like immediately for me. Like I was like, oh, I can actually vibe out to this. And I hadn't played in a band,
that's
like
awesome.
a real band for, I want to say like 2 or 3 years before that. So that was my first forte back to it, back in the live music environment.
Dave, what was your experience? And why did it take you 5 months to?
So when he first sent it back, our first impression was he sounds really great on the vocals, but we were kind of letting our egos kind of get in the way, and we kind of took a little bit of offense to it, like dummies. We were kind of thinking, who's this guy taking our songs and cut our songs up? That lasted like one day, and then we all came back to the studio. We looked at each other, and we were thinking, that was really stupid to even take that on. He made the song better. No matter how you look at it, if you like it or not, it's a better song now with his vocals and the way he restructured the song. So that lasted about a day, and then we said, get over ourselves.
Yeah, we had 4 songs right off the bat. Right off the bat, we had 4 songs to be able to work on at practice. But these guys took so long. At least the story I got was because they were vetting other singers, right? And I think I was like the last. I was like the last one. They're like, I don't know how we feel about these other singers, but let's just try one more dude. And I just happened to come in at the last moment.
I actually was going to ask you, Dave, especially with your time in the industry with Korn, I assume you still have those connections there where you could talk to people and try to set something up when you're able to get back on the road and when those bigger tours happen.
Well, because of the connections I made and the friendships in Korn, that's how we got our management, which is Andy Gould and Paul Gargano. I've known Andy since early mid 90s, and I've stayed in contact with maybe 4 or 5 different managers, and I sent all of them the music, and Andy was the one that really came back with a positive reaction and really liked the songs and the music. So he asked us if he could come down to our rehearsal studio here in Orange County. And the first time, I think it was the day of or the day before, he canceled because he was really worried about COVID because he's in his late 60s and he has asthma. So he got scared for some reason, and then he did it again, like the day of. I think Richard had already left his house driving down to us, and he called me the day of because when he first said he wants to see us live, I said, let's rent a studio at SIR, which is big rehearsal sound stages up in LA for people to rehearse for tours. And he said, no, I want to see you in your private setting in your rehearsal studio. So after 2 times of that not working out, he said, okay, let's go to SIR, which is originally what I said. So we rented the studio in LA, which people use to prepare for tours. So it was a pretty big stage, great sound system. We went in there, set everything up. I think we brought 2 or 3 people with us and just the band. And it was literally the 2 or 3 people we brought with us on the side, and Andy and Paul sitting in 2 chairs in the middle of an empty room. And we played for them. And they said we totally blew them away. I mean, they shook our hands and said, we're going to be your managers on that day. And that's awesome. So that really worked out to our best. But I do know a couple people in the booking agents world, and I really haven't reached out to them in a long time. But Andy knows all the same people I do, so it's kind of his corner now and his call. But I would like to see if we could do what Richard was talking about and get on bands that are booking tours right now in an opening slot, because that would probably be by far the best way to get us out there before everything's booked up. Which I assume the minute the markets open up, I mean, there's probably already tours booking and being planning on canceling and pulling back and all that. It's probably happening already. But I mean, I don't care if we can get on a tour now and they have to postpone it. I mean, as long as we're attached to something, it would be great.
But, the thing is, you guys are doing everything that you really need to do at this point, and that I think a lot of successful bands are doing, and that you have various music videos out there right now, really pumping things out on social media, and also explaining the background of the band and, like why you chose to do that Faith No More cover, for example.
I mean, that Faith No More cover, ever since I joined this band, these guys basically said, hey, let's do a Faith No More cover. And I was like, no way, dude, that's crazy, Mike Patton is like the man, and I don't know if I can sing that way, really, honestly. And so I basically just said no the entire time. And then we were on tour in like driving in the middle of nowhere. And I heard the live version of Midlife Crisis come on from Faith No More. It was off the deluxe version of Angel Dust. And that live version was faster and like the vocals were really aggressive. And I was like, hey, I think I could do this now, because I had started screaming with the band, right? Like when I first came in, I was only singing, but I started screaming. So I was like, hey, we should try this. Let's do it. So we got back from tour, learned it, put our own little twist on it and recorded it. And it was just supposed to be an Easter egg on our album that we were going to release back then, right? Or EP. I don't remember what it was, what we were going to release. And then when Andy and Paul came on, I believe it was the day of the showcase that David was talking about. They said, so guys, what's next? What do you guys think? What are you guys planning to do next? And I was like, well, I think we should probably put out some more music because the last thing we did was Delusional, right? And they said, well, in this political climate, because the election was coming up and everything, they didn't know if anyone would really pay attention to any new music in that fourth quarter of 2020. So I said, well, we have this cover, this Faith No More cover. And they're like, you know what? That might be perfect because it's familiar enough for people to actually pay attention or get their attention, but you guys put your own spin on it. So people will probably listen to that. Release that. And that we decided right then and there, right after the showcase and that right after they basically said they'd take us on, that we'd release the Faith No More cover as our next single. And then I basically said, hey, why don't we remake the video too? So it'd basically be like the full tribute to Faith No More. If we're going to do this, let's do it like wholly,
Wow.
Yeah, and it came out awesome. I was actually that makes me think of another question though. When you said with like the political climate and the election, I don't, at least from what I've seen, I don't think you guys have been like an overly political band. A lot of music coming out now is very political because of like the climate in the country. Has that made you want to get into that, or are you trying to? We're trying to stay away from that.
No politics. I mean,
yeah, that's awesome.
No politics in music.
And that's how it should be. Now, I don't want to hear political music.
I mean, it depends on the band, though. I mean, who doesn't like Rage Against the Machine,
But that's the thing with groups like that, though, because Rage made it one way, but who listened to a lot of Rage Against the Machine was the same people. They were military guys.
Yeah,
and,
but I mean,
and really a lot of their music was anti-military. I would say anti-military, but anti-big government and anti-whoever it was at the time. So I
just think a band sets the stage for what they want to do. So I get it if your band wants to stray away from that. I mean, Korn was never a political band, at least as far as I saw.
No. I think David's frozen.
Yeah, I think Dave's a little frozen here. I don't know.
That is awesome.
Not frozen.
Yeah, I can.
Wait, I hear David.
Oh man, I should take a screenshot of that face. That's the new album cover right there. That's it. Oh man, I want to see that video.
Could you hear us?
I'm here. I'm good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, but I was saying I feel like Korn was never like an overly political band. So I mean, it makes sense.
No politics at all in Korn.
There are songs. I know there's songs and issues that bands get into, but again, just rock, man, just rock. Because the people that are listening to your music, you may not have, if you're a political band, you may not have intended them. You may not have intended that group to dig your music. I don't think Rage Against the Machine ever thought that they would be huge in the military community. But and then you listen to them like, oh my! But you can apply that stuff to what you're going through in the military. Yeah, so I hate politics, and I was involved in it for 3 years, 4 years after the damn attack, and really politics is damn near in everything now.
Yeah.
So let's just we want to rock, man. Just rock and well like we used to. And if you want to throw some stories in there, personal things, I love rock because sometimes there's personal stories in there. And I love it. And that's what I get to, because then I can relate it to my own life at times. And that's what we want to do. We want to live. I wanted to, and especially downrange. I told Dave this on the last show. Guys downrange, they want to be able to feel like they're back home through your music. That's what keeps them grounded and keeps them American. I'm away from deployment. I'm going to throw in some, I'm going to throw in some bias. I'm going to throw it in right now. And it makes you feel like remember when I heard that song when I was driving down the road in Oklahoma? That's what it brings you back to, and it makes you feel good when bands. I mean, you already have athletes getting into all that political crap, and it took me away from watching football anymore. I don't even watch it anymore, and that's terrible because that's how I grew up watching NFL football.
Right.
I don't want music to go that way because it takes away something that you grew up with, and it reminds you of home and good times or even bad times, but it reminds you of your own life. So I'm happy you guys are not getting into the political realm of music. Now, you may sing a song that is political. I mean, Alice in Chains Rooster, it wasn't intended to be political, but it's about Vietnam, and his father was a machine gunner.
Right.
To me, that's about as
I
political.
definitely don't want to ever go there. And that's one of the reasons why we unacronymed bias. Right? We unacronymed bias. During the political times, if you tried to find us, it was impossible to find us through all like the bias articles. You know what I mean? Like biased media,
biased media.
And it was whoa, we need to get a little bit more unique because we're getting buried in political news stories, right? So then breaking in a sequence became our new thing because, hey, you can find us so much easier everywhere this way.
That's a great story. That's awesome.
Rich, why don't you tell them about your vocals? What kind of topics you write about?
Well, I don't know.
Let's hear it.
When I write my vocals, I try to make them vague, but there's basically three meanings. I think of my vocals when I write them with three meanings: the meaning that I intended to have, the meaning that it's really about, and then the meaning of how you're going to take it. Right. So with Pity, I wrote that song basically about hard work, right? If you want something, work hard for it, right? And everyone knows this. My work ethic is I'm one of those people that I work extremely hard at everything that I do, no matter what. Like if I don't know how to do something, I will learn how to do it just so that I know how to do it. Even if it's useless knowledge to me, I can help out someone later, right? But when you want something, you have to work for it. Right? You can't just sit there and dream about it and then complain when you don't have it. Right? That's what I wrote Pity about. Hesitation, right? The second song on the EP is basically about having anxiety at doing things, right? Doing different things. And fun fact, Hesitation was the song that they first sent to me that I chopped up and sent back to them. Right. So maybe subconsciously in my head, I was basically saying, the chorus to that song is hold your ground. It's about to get rough. Don't let the sight of the ashes break you. So it's basically saying, I watched the last band go up in flames, and I guess if I get this, I better hold my ground, because it's going to get rough, but you can make it through. Right. That's why during the bridge of that song, I say finding center and aligning. There's no reason not to get back up, right? You fall down, get back up. Do it, I like to be inspirational. I'm not going to talk about just dumb crap,
No, I get, and I think that people do want to be inspired when they hear those songs, and they're going to have different meaning to them. Just to get back to Dave, since I think we'll be able to hear Dave now, is there in any way that you kind of evolved your playing from when we last heard you? For a lot of people, when they last heard you, to Bias now, all these years later.
You mean since I was in Korn, has my playing evolved, or?
Yeah, I mean, have you changed the way that you drum? Have you changed your style at all?
I don't think so, honestly. I mean, not consciously, I haven't.
And I haven't heard. The last show we had with Dave, I even said when you can tell when he's drumming. I mean, it's that hit. And when I heard one of the, I'm probably not supposed to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. When I somehow got a hold of some of your songs before they came out, I don't know how I got them. I found them somewhere, but I heard it, and as soon as you hear that foot hit, I don't know, do you call it and help me out, my ignorance on what's the bot, what's it called?
Bass drum.
It's just the bass drum, isn't it? Okay, so when you hear, that's what I said, his thighs from doing all them damn squats, boom, and you're like, okay, that's Dave Silveria right there. I mean, you can hear it hitting, and that's what starts making you do this right off the bat. And when you start, and I'm nodding my head because I'm like to the beat right there because he's got some funk in it. He's throwing that freaking funk in there, that dirty South, whatever it comes from. And then he starts hitting on the drums. You just know that, okay, this is gonna rock because of that drum. And I don't hear, I know when Dave Silveria's drumming, you can hear that right off the bat, and that's important because I think people take drummers. Until you hear a good drummer, they take that for granted. And drum makes that, man, it makes that funky. And you want that funk, at least I do in my rock and roll. I want some funk in my rock, and I want some screeching, and I want some, and every once in a while you can throw in a mixer in there. Hey, go ahead, throw the little, but it just brings it all home. And then the lyrics, like you said, Rich, that's awesome, because that's what guys need to hear. And military guys, yes, veterans, and we listen to this kind of music. We listen to rock. We do. And that's what we want to hear in those lyrics, because all of us have gone through a obstacle of some sort, whether it be seeing a buddy die or even just coming home and having drinking problems or something. And we had to overcome it. And that's what I want to hear in my songs. And that's why I listen to them. And that's why, again, that genre of music, which you guys are bringing back, to me is one of the best genres of music ever, because of just that. All right. Screw it. Yeah. We failed. So what? We're going to pick ourselves up and keep fighting. And that's what it is. You just keep fighting. So that's awesome to hear that. That's how you write.
Right. Don't get me wrong.
That's what music should be. It should be inspirational. It should be. Yeah.
But I try to keep it a little bit more intellectual.
Oh yeah. Crazy. You got to. It's life, man.
Because I think a lot of metal bands will talk about all the same things. And since we're kind of we're teetering on that line of rock and metal, kind of wanted to go into a different direction. But going back to you talking about David, David hears music differently than all of us do. I mean, we'll bring in riffs and we'll start working on material, and when David starts drumming on it, it's completely nothing like what we thought it was going to be.
He does. It's funky. I said on the last one, like, Dave, you're funk. You got to have that funk in it. Bring the funk, man. And I know your connection. I know it sucks, David. It's fine. It's what happens. So I'll try to get you on this one. But is the band still? And I know you are a huge military supporter. You're a patriot, brother, and I appreciate that. You were actually, would text me every once in a while and pump me up sometimes, just because of hey, I just watched the movie. You guys are, and I don't deserve any of that, but I appreciated it, man. I really did. Are you guys still that band? And Rich didn't come in and say hell with the mill. I'm not saying you did, Rich. But you guys are still, big military supporters. Would you ever consider a USO tour if they ever decided? I know you have families, and that's hard. Believe me, I understand leaving families and going overseas. That's something that's extremely hard. But I know troops would. That's what got guys through a lot of times too, men and women. So how is that
USO tour? Absolutely, 100%, yes.
And how do you do? I mean, I know I can say, hey, yeah, send them on it, but is that a managerial? Wouldn't know how to do it. Is that something your managers want to do too, or they take a different approach because it's maybe can't make the money that you could on an actual tour?
They can set it up. Absolutely, they would find the right people to talk to throughout the military and set it up for us.
That's awesome. That's good to hear,
guys. You guys posted recently, the last show that you got to play. You're eager to be back on stage. Is there a song in particular that you're looking really forward to playing? And then I'm also wondering, are you guys planning on throwing like a corn cover in there to introduce the band to who David is and his background?
No corn covers.
Not right now.
No.
I mean,
it's like, hell no. Hell's to the no.
We don't mean in a bad way. We're just,
I
mean,
maybe
we're not
later,
the
but
corn man.
right now
we're trying to be our own thing.
Ourselves, and I think that would just be the wrong way to establish ourselves if we did do a corn cover.
Yeah. Well, you leave yourself open to be, hey, they're just a knockoff, and that's not. I agree. It's not something that you would want to do, and you haven't been. You're from the new album.
Right.
I don't hear any corn in there except for the drum, which is not corn. That's Dave.
One of my questions that got kind of lost there with the corn cover thing, but is there a song in particular you're like dying to get on stage and play right now?
Yeah, I would say I like.
It's really hard to pick out one song. I mean,
Delusional
they're all really good to me
because we close our shows with that song, and literally it's the chance for me to just completely blow out my voice. And at the very end, I do these really, really high pitched screams, and literally every single time I finish that, my voice is done.
I want to see you guys keep going well, and I want another album as soon as you get it. And somehow, if I can find it before it comes out, somehow I don't know how that could happen, but if it does, maybe I'll just tell me where I need to. But you guys are awesome, man, and Rich, keep killing it, dude. And I'm gonna come to the show for close, the Midwest, maybe Kansas City or something, and you can teach me that, the technique, man.
Well, it was great having both you guys on. Once again, for the audience, the album is acronym, the EP is acronym. I really would urge everybody to go out there and actually purchase it on iTunes or Amazon because, we've heard guys on the show who are in bands say before, you really don't get anything through streaming, although that's just the way of the future. That's kind of where everything is. I still like to buy albums. But and at Bias Band OC on all social media.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
You guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks as always, guys, for checking us out. We have some really awesome guests planned for the weeks ahead. Some more special ops guys. I know it's been a little bit, but we have, like Navy SEAL Jake Zwig planned, Army Ranger Mike Schlitz. So a lot of really good guests on the horizon.
We'll get Rowan's mom on. I'm sorry to tell you guys out there. I thought I had her contact information handy, and it must be on an old phone. So I've got to find Cheryl Bennett's number again. But we'll get her on, and she's a tremendous woman and a Gold Star, a Gold Star mother. So we would definitely want to have her on, and she also started a wrestling foundation for Tyrone called the Tyrone S. Woods Wrestling Foundation, which you guys need to check out, donate to. Ron was a big wrestler. He was actually, I don't know if he won the state championship, but I know he was a state qualifier in wrestling in high school. And that foundation helps teams that can't get the wrestling equipment they need in high school get it, or even under in the lower leagues, in the Pee Wee leagues used to call it when I was growing up. Get equipment, especially wrestling shoes. And, I don't think athletics are looked at in some areas as highly, or they're not given the funding that they used to be. And so it helps out. Not all, and that's not on all states, but there are some of the schools and some of the states where the funds were there. Like when I was in, where there was a hefty athletic fund, and it really does help you grow and become part of something, and helps with teamwork. We talked with Shannon Rich. He mentioned that when he was a wrestler, so man, it gave me an outlet. Or if I didn't have that, I would have went to the dark side and became a truant and a criminal growing up. But I had wrestling, so we'll get Cheryl on. But if you have a chance, look at Tyrone S. Woods Wrestling Foundation. I just put that out there and donate to them because it does help kids find themselves. It gives them an outlet.
100%. As always, support our sponsors. We have T-shirts. You can check that out at the link in the description. And as long as I don't get flagged here, because I know that, with copyrighted music, I think, we had the guys on, but you know how it is. They could just basically flag that just by detecting the sound. But if you hear it under me, we're going to end the show with Delusional from Bias. Check them out. Or from Breaking in a Sequence at Bias Band OC on social media. Thanks, everybody. Starting to see Americans
So delicate and desperate, your trophies remain unseen.
That's all for this episode of the Battleline podcast, but we'll be back on Monday with more American straight talk. Until then, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Battleline Podcast and on Twitter at Battleline Pod. To sign up for future Battleline tactical courses, go to www.christantoperanto.net. Believe in yourself, face all challenges head on, and as